Hello everyone. Please feel free to skip to the race if you're watching it back. Yeah, just getting the lobby sorted, waiting for everyone to come in. Theory, we should have 17 people today, which is a very nice squid indeed. So we're waiting for 5 more basically. Evening, Rick. How are you, buddy? Nice to see both Ferraris today. Sakie Benny still registered as a permanent driver. He is as well. Dear, dear. He only shows up for the first race of the season and then never comes back. and then the next season he signs up again, shows up in the first race, and then doesn't come back again. It's bizarre. Three more to come. Who are we missing? We are missing... We're missing Hartman, KTFO, Lifeboat, and that's it. Hartman, KTFO and Lifeboat. Welcome, welcome everyone. We will get underway shortly. to post the stream on Facebook. Unless AP's already done it. In. Nearly there. Alright. Nearly there, 2 more. You haven't invited... Yes, I... Okay. Life... I swear... his PSN is not Lifeboat. Swear it's Lifebout. Wait, here we go. Yeah, I've definitely invited Lifebout. Let's try again. Lifebout. Wait for KTFO. Good to see Samuel L. Jackson in the chat. Says go, I'm eating my dinner. Okay. Right, in that case, I think we can ready up. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so round 4 of 9, we're approaching the halfway point of the season. And here we are in Spain, a very unforgiving track that's going to test every Tier 2 driver on the grid today. I'm interested to see who's going to get pole and who's going to keep their composure and get the win. But for now, welcome. It's Tuesday night, and that can only mean one thing. We're back for Tier 2 action. Of course, we're sponsored today by Positive Perception Media Design Products. Don't forget to check them out on Instagram. They do incredible GT car liveries, and definitely worth your time and a follow. But let me get all this sorted. I think that's all good. Alright, so now we just wait for the first person to come out on track. Harass is in the chat. Yep, according to Rick, this is Spain. And it looks like TTV Max is going to be the first man on track. So we'll ride on board with him. Give him some screen time. Why not? Apparently he's in a cloud of dust, which is interesting. Thanks for that, Codemasters. But here we go. TTV Max begins his out lap, as well as LB and a couple others coming out onto track now. So, championship leader is ISRL Bumblebee, but only by 1 point. He hasn't had a podium yet, but he's been very consistent, 2 fastest laps, and that's led him to the championship lead as it stands, but only by 1 point over LB in the Aston Martin. With Madman Ollie Oliver a further 2 points down from there, and then Bumblebee's teammate One Wing in 4th, with Mitch and Rick and our reigning champion Harass all trying to catch up as well after missing 1 race each. All different races, interestingly. Rick missed the first race, Mitch missed the second, and Harass missed the third, but they're all here today, and here we go. We'll ride on board with TTV Max as he starts his first lap. A little bit too deep into the last chicane there, so not a great start to the lap, but let's see if he can make up for that, as here he comes down towards turn 1, quite a long straight here. One of the only overtaking opportunities on track. You brake quite late into this one, need to hit the apex hard, be careful at turn 2 because that curb will spin you right round, as I found out when Tier 1 came here. But here comes Max. He's traversed the first sector fairly well, and round he comes towards the second. LB has retired from the session, as has Mitch. They've both crashed out. It looks like at turn 3, so that's a controversial one. I'm going to try and see what's happened. Here's Schweizer. Look to your left. What's happened there? They're both in the wall down there. Uh-oh. That's not good, but we'll go back on board with TTV Max. He's still on a lap. He's going to, as long as he doesn't invalidate, he's going to go top of the timing sheets for now. What happened, Alex? What do you see? RJ Blair's also out of the session, but here comes Max now around the final chicane. He's traversed that quite well. It's quite hard to do that right, but he's done it pretty well, and round he comes for 1 minute 18.2. So there's the initial pace from the youngster in the Ferrari. Who's next across the line? Emiliano's starting his lap on the mediums. LB span and didn't ghost. Mitch went straight into him. Oh dear. That's got some championship implications, that does. So I'm sure the stewards may want to have a look at that. Went round the left and controller sent you right. Did you catch the curb at turn 2? That will send you straight round, mate. But yeah, that's if it was a controller error, then that's bizarre. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be having a look at that one. But that's 2 championship protagonists out of qualifying, so they'll be starting from the back. So we're going to have an interesting race with them trying to make up positions. Emiliano here comes round turn 10 and goes a little bit too far, hits the gravel and then misses the apex for 11. But So not the cleanest lap from Emiliano, but there's plenty of time to get a better one, and it's hard to adjust on the mediums and set a good lap as well. One Wing goes second on the mediums with an 18.8. And here comes Emiliano across the line. What can he do? Looks like it's going to be a 1 minute 19.6, so he goes third for now. Good luck to you too, Hartman. Good to see you in the chat. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream if you're here. We're right on board with Madman Ollie Oliver. He's currently third in the standings, only 3 points behind. So here he comes on the softs, round towards turn 1. He's hit that apex very well. Turn 2, you've got to be careful. He nearly spun it round there, but he's got it quite well. T3 Max remains at the top of the standings for the moment, but Ollie Oliver now comes around sector 1. It doesn't look like he's gone purple though. I think that little moment at turn 2 cost him. So round he comes towards turn 5 and 6. And this is a tough section of track. It's very easy to oversteer on the exit of that corner. It looks like he had a tiny bit of a correction, but round he comes. Oh, there we go, he's got it. If you've got a very high downforce setup, that corner could be flat out, but he did lift off a bit. You can see in the bottom right of your screen with the throttle and brake metrics, but Rick has gone third for now with an 18.8. And that lap from Max is looking better and better the more people slot in behind him, but here comes Madman Ollie Oliver. Can he beat it? Comes around the final corner. Looks like he traversed the final chicane fairly well. What's it going to be? It's a 17.5, so Madman does take provisional pole for now in that Haas, so he'll have seen that LB and Mitch are out of the session, so he's going to be wanting to take full advantage, as is ISRL Bumblebee, who's still in the pits for now. He doesn't look like he's setting a lap, but we're right on board with KTFO in the McLaren. He hasn't been able to finish a race yet. Been in all 3 races, but DNF'd out of all 3, and he's invalidated his lap, so he's going to have to go out again, and he's into the wall, and he's retired from the session. Why did I go to him? Why did I go to him? Immediately, he retired as soon as I went on to him. I said I wouldn't jinx him. I said I wouldn't curse him, and I did exactly that. I'm so sorry, KTFO. Here comes Schweizer. He sets... well, maybe that might be a better lap in the wet, but for now he's P7 with all these retirements. Look at this, 4 retirements from the session already. Both McLarens... I think it might be the McLarens that are cursed, because this RJ Blair is also out of the session. So even when they have a reserve in that car, they still somehow crash every time. So I think it might be the Papaya cars that are cursed. But let's ride on board with the championship leader as he comes to the end of his outlap. I'm keeping an eye on, I think that's Rick on his second lap. What's he going to do? 1 minute 18.000, right on the dot. 5/10 down on Madman. But that was a very good lap from Madman, it looks like. 17.5. Way ahead of everyone else. But here comes Bumblebee on his outlap on the mediums. I think the strategy call is interesting here. You can definitely do soft medium. Dave proved that a couple of weeks ago. But whether it's fast is another question. The guys starting on mediums will be looking to do medium hard, which could serve them better because you'll have more average speed throughout the race. And we'll have to deal with tyre wear a lot less. So all these guys starting on the mediums, we're looking to do something like that. But here comes Bumblebee. That looked pretty clean through there. Now he comes to here. Is he flat out? No, he lifts off a bit, but I think with an ideal setup around here, you do have to lift off through that corner a little bit. But here he comes to the final sector. Hits the apex there, hits the apex there as well. Doesn't even lift for that corner. That was very committed from Bumblebee. I always get too scared not to lift through there, but here he comes to the final chicane. What can he do? This is looking like a very clean lap so far from the championship leader. He comes around the final corner. What's it going to be on the mediums? It's a 17.3 on the mediums from ISRL Bumblebee. That is a monstrous lap from the man in the Alfa Romeo. The championship leader sets his foot down on the field. Oh my word. What a lap from the Alfa Romeo. He does a little bit of... he turns a little bit at the end of the straight, does a little bit of a wiggle in celebration, and why not? What a lap! 17.3 on the mediums. That's absolutely incredible. If he gets pole on the mediums, then... wow. I mean, LB and Mitch, the two of the fastest guys on the grid, they're both out of the session. James McCrow, there we go, that's a bit better. James McCrow with a 17.5, but he's still 0.2 off that lap from Bumblebee. Wow. Let's ride on board with Hartmann as he comes to the line. It's an 18.8 is what all he can manage on the mediums. Lifebound's invalidated his lap. Harass, the reigning champion, is still in the pits as usual. For those who haven't watched as much Tier 2, Harass has his strategy in qualifying. He stays in the pits all the way until the end of the session, then comes out, sets a lap. Bosch doesn't waste any tyres, just sets one lap, gets it up at the top of the field, and then uses those fresh tyres to his advantage in the race. But here comes Emiliano. He looked pretty good through there. That was a bit better than last time, where he got on the gravel. I think he broke a bit early for that corner. Well, a bit earlier than last time anyway. But he seems to take it better. Hit the apex there. When he's gone a bit wide here. Don't invalidate. Oh, he's invalidated his lap, Emiliano. That looked much better than the previous effort, so he's going to have to go again. Who are we keeping an eye on now? Who's on a lap? Is Hartmann on a lap? No, he's not. Looks like people are coming into the pits. Here's Rick on an outlap. He's currently P6 in the championship. The young Dutchman. But he's been pretty on the pace when he has raced. He's raced in 2 races, comes second in both. So Rick looking to go one better here, but wow, he's going to have a job to do to beat Bumblebee. Here he comes for his lap. Hopefully that car in front doesn't get in his way. No, it's braked in time, that's good. So here he comes around turn 1 and 2, that was pretty clean. And through turn 3 it's pretty much flat out if you get the turn in right. And he's done that quite well. Down towards turn 4 he's taken the inside to outside line and he's got on the grass, and that's going to ruin that lap, I think. I don't know if he's going to keep going. Yeah, it looks like he's still going, so we'll have to see where he comes across for his Sector 2 time, whether it's better or not. But TTV Max is looking good as well, 18.2, he's in P5 right now. Harass is now on an outlap, so maybe he's going to set 2 laps today. Rick is 2 or 3 tenths down on his previous best, so he's going to need a monstrous final sector. But let's ride on board with the defending champion, Harass 18 in the Mercedes. Of course, had to miss last week's race, unfortunately, so he finds himself 18 points down on the championship lead, but he's going to be looking to make amends today. There's plenty of time to catch up. Just takes a couple of mistakes from the lead runners and he'll be right back in the championship fight. On turns 1 and 2 fairly comfortably. He had to lift off there through turn 3, that wasn't ideal. He's going to lose a bit of time there. He's only led 5 laps this season so far, Harass. Mitch has the most laps led with 54, which is quite a few considering we've only had 104 laps in total so far. And Madman Ollie Oliver, there we go, 17.0. Bumblebee's lap finally falls, but it's still a monstrous lap on the medium tyres from the man in the Alfa Romeo, and he's going to have possibly a favourable strategy for the race. So Bumblebee is looking very, very good right now. Here comes Harass into Sector 3. Oh, he got a bit wide there, maybe. I'm not sure, it might be the New Zealand connection, but Round he comes through the final sector, coming to the final chicane. He had to turn back out again to avoid the sausage curb on the inside, but here he comes up to the line. It's a 17.385, beats Bumblebee by 4,000th of a second in the Mercedes. I'm not sure if he has enough time to do another lap unless he's going straight for another lap, which he might be doing, but he's invalidated, so not anymore. But yeah, this is a very exciting looking qualifying so far. So, let's see, TDP Max has invalidated. Is Ollie Oliver on a lap? No, he's coming in. Who's on a lap? James McCrow is on an out lap. Harass is on a cooldown. Schwazer's spun it. Just got there in time to see him spin it. Sorry about that, Schwazer. But he's back on track now. Emiliano's in the pits. Hartman's on an out lap. So it looks like James McCrow is going to be coming round to set a lap. He's currently in P4. He's doing pretty well. But DNF'd last time out in Canada, so he's looking to make amends today. Here he comes down the main straight. Hopefully that car gets out of his way. It does. Round he comes to turn 1. Bit untidy there through turns 1 and 2. He had to lift off a bit to avoid the oversteer through turn 1. But there's no lift through turn 3, so that was pretty good. Here he comes towards 4. It takes a different line round the... It's wide to wide. You can take two different lines through turn 4, really. You can either take it wide, miss the apex, and have more overspeed as you come out of the corner, or you can go straight in for the apex, and as Schweizer retires, but yeah, you can go straight in for the apex and then come all the way out, take the traditional line. But it looks like James McCrow's taken the escape road there. He's decided it wasn't a very good lap. So yeah, the two Ferraris, looks like Max was giving his teammate a tow. So can Rick improve? Here we go. Less than a minute left in the session. Can Rick improve from P5? He's looked very quick so far this season, but he looks outmatched at the moment. ISRL Bumblebee. I cannot get over that lap on the medium tyres. A 1 minute 17.3 from the championship leader. Absolutely mental. But here comes Rick. Round through sector 2. He got a nice tow off his teammate into turn 1. But he's invalidated his lap, and that's crucial for the Ferraris. Disaster for them, and Rick was 7/10 up, so he could have been there. He could have been on the front row. Harass has retired from the session. But yeah, disaster that is. For the man in Ferrari. So Hartman is not on a lap currently, it doesn't look like. No, he's not. Max is coming onto a lap. No, he's not. He's coming in. And this session's ended. Did Rick get across the line in time? Yes, he did. So he's going on another lap. Here comes Rick. Don't invalidate this time. He comes around turn 1 and 2. Very nice and clean through there. Turn 3. Fully flat out. Maybe a tiny bit of a lift, but perfectly good. As he comes into turn 4, hits that well, goes for the apex and comes round wide again through turn 5 now. And he looks like he's putting quite a clean lap together here. James McCrow's come into the pits, so Rick and Hartman are the only two cars on track, and I don't think Hartman's on a lap. No, he's not. So Rick, the only man on a lap, he's the last car over the line. He's trying to improve from P5. He's 4/10 up through sector 2, but he was 7/10 up on his last lap, which he invalidated. It was just such a shame. He maybe took this one a bit more cautiously, but round he comes to sector 3. He wants to be on at least the front 2 rows. Right now he's P5. Can he beat James McCrow to 4th? A little bit of an oversteer moment. Oh, he's kept that well. Very good save from the man in the Ferrari. Across the line, it's a 17.4, and he does improve to 4th place just about, but Bumblebee in P3, and we've got to watch for LB and Mitch going from, as LB's just said, last to first. So they're going to be hunting their way through the pack. So many DNFs in this qualifying session though, and as I said at the start of the session, Spain is going to definitely sort out these tier 2 drivers because it's such a difficult circuit to get perfectly right. And as we've seen, 5 DNFs plus Harass and Schweizer, I suppose you can count, so that might make 7 if you count them two, but wow. What a qualifying. It's Madman Ollie Oliver in pole position, but Bumblebee I think is the standout today. 3rd place on the mediums, only 3/10 down on pole position. That is astonishing. What a lap from the championship leader. But it's an all-Dutch second row, but it's Madman in the Haas on pole position today. Harass in P2. Bumblebee and Rick P3 and 4. Is that a lap record? I'm not sure. I'll have to check in a sec. But James McCrow P5, Hartman P6. Max and Pommy Alex make up the 4th row of the grid. Crozer, One Wing, Schweizer and Emiliano. The rest of the drivers to set times. But KTFO, Mitch, RJ Blair, LB and Lifebout all retired from the session before they could set a lap. Lap record around here was a 1 minute 16.676 from Vardy in Tier 1, so still a fair way off that, but the race lap record is a 1 minute 18.579, so we'll have to see if that gets beaten during the race, but we've got a great race in store, I think. But yeah, wow. Bumblebee is the man to watch, but I think LB and Mitch will be coming through the pack, and it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do. It's hard to overtake around here, especially if you're in a DRS train, so those guys are going to have to pull everything out of their cars in order to get back up to the front of the grid. Hopefully without causing any carnage. Fingers crossed. Everyone stays clean. But here we go. Madman Ollie Oliver in the Haas gets off the line. The starters off. Let's enable this stuff. Detail position change for now. And yeah, let's get started. Kiernan wishes Tier 2 good luck. And hopefully we can have a very good race here. But yeah, Madman Ollie Oliver leads the pack on the formation lap. Hopefully there will be a clean start indeed. Let's go through some stats while they're on the formation lap. So the best average qualifier before this race was Mitch. Obviously 3rd and 1st. It's going to give you a pretty good average. But yeah, there's a lot of very high qualifiers here in Tier 2, and a lot of very fast drivers, and a lot of drivers who are very even, which makes this championship so exciting, and it's fantastic to watch, especially from my perspective. Unfortunately, Sumo can't be here today. But hopefully he will be back next week and we can get the dream team back together again. But yeah, so Mitch has led the most laps with 54 out of 104, so he is dominating that stat. He led almost all the laps in Canada and almost all of them in Portugal. But position gains, lap 1 position gains, we're talking ISRL Bumblebee, the championship leader, is the best on that front. He's gained 6 positions over the course of these 3 races that we've had in Tier 2 so far, so maybe he can get a good start again today, but on those medium tyres he might struggle to get the better of the soft tyres at the start, but you never know. When you can set a lap like that on the mediums, who knows what's possible. But here they come. Every car lining up on the grid for Tier 2. Watch Mitch and LB in the Red Bull and Aston Martin respectively at the back of the grid. They'll be looking to make their way up. KTFO, RJ Blair, quick drivers as well. So a lot of drama could be had, but here we go. The lights come on. Don't forget there'll be a delay because it's a spectator hosting. And lights out, and away we go. Ollie Oliver gets a decent start, but ISRO Bumblebee gets a fantastic start. He's pushed onto the grass at the start. He's round the outside. We're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Who's going to get the better? A Madman breaks early to try and avoid carnage. It's Harass who leads. Can Bumblebee hold it round the outside? No, he can't. So Harass now leads. Ollie Oliver in P2. It looks like a McLaren is back at the back. It's KTFO again, but round we come towards turn 4. Who's made up the most positions? Emiliano and Crozer have made up some good positions. Sorry, not Crozer, RJ Blair. And looks like Crozer's spun out at the back through turn 4. Harass, a little bit of a squirm out of turn 5, but I think we're all through cleanly now. So let's keep an eye on the cars at the back as T2V Max gets onto the back of Pommy Alex, who's had a good start, but Emiliano with the best start out of anyone other than Lifebout and RJ Blair, but they benefited from people crashing. Emiliano, what a start from the man in the Williams. But, wow, chaotic start here in Tier 2. It looks like KTFO has crashed already. He still can't make it through lap 1. I'm so sorry, KTFO. But RJ Blair up to P10, Lifebout up to P11, and Emiliano up to P8. But as T2V Max goes for a spin at the final chicane, it's so easy to do if you hit that sausage curb, and he's all the way down to 14th. So we'll go back on board with one wing now. Bumblebee's made a good start on the mediums, but let's keep an eye on Ollie Oliver, who's just behind Harass, trying to make up some ground. But here comes one wing down the inside of Emiliano. Can he make the move stick? Emiliano lets him through, doesn't fight it too hard. And one wing up to P7 in the Alfa Romeo as RJ Blair now looks to go down the inside through turn 3. That's not an overtaking place, but he doesn't care. Down the inside through turn 4 now. He's got the place, I think, from Emiliano, who's dropping back now. But RJ Blair goes wide out of turn 4, and Emiliano takes that opportunity to have the outside line for 5. But RJ Blair gets the better drive. Can Emiliano send it through turn 6? That would be risky, but he decides not to, quite sensibly, as Lifebout now spins out through turn 6. Very easy to do. But here comes Emiliano again to the back of the McLaren. Can he send it down the inside? No, he backs out of it again. And RJ Blair goes a bit wide in response. But what a start this is. This is a great first couple of laps in Tier 2. Harass has taken the lead from Madman, who's staying with him, and Bumblebee is sticking with them as well on the medium tyres. As I said, he is probably the man to watch to win this race, but here we go. Bumblebee sets the fastest lap, in fact, on the mediums. Those softs are going to go quite fast. So we might see Bumblebee have a chance at overtaking them quite soon on those mediums, especially with the pace that he's got. And I think the championship leader is definitely the man to beat today. But LB up 5, Mitch only up 2, so LB's had the much better start out of the two of them as he goes down the inside of Schweizer through turn 3, who gets a bit slow, now up to turn 4, and LB brakes much later and gets the place from the man in the Alpine as Mitch looks to chase after them as well. Where are the gaps? RJ Blair on the back of one wing, but things starting to calm down a little bit now, I think. I'll keep an eye on Mitch, and I'm keeping an eye on that gap with Madman as well. Let's go up to him. Right on the back of the Mercedes. There's a battle for the lead, and Bumblebee's going to be looking to get his nose in there as well if the two in front fight too hard. But it is our resident Kiwi Harass, the reigning champion, leading the race for now, with Ollie Oliver right behind. It looks like Mitch is going to get the move done on Schweizer, is it? That gap has decreased, but no, he had to back out, I think, as Madman sets the fastest lap now. Here he goes after Harass. He goes down to the inside line through turn 1. Can Harass hold it? No, he can't. The DRS too strong, and Madman takes the race lead as James McCrow now sets the fastest lap, so he's got some pace on those softs. But unfortunately, he's right at the back after his poor start. RJ Blair already up to P8, up 7 places. Let's switch now to the tyres. There we go. So yeah, Bumblebee on those mediums, keeping track of the top two, and Rick as well in the mix. And then a big gap down to Hartman, and Pommy Alex going down the inside of Hartman. In fact, can he make the move stick up to turn 6? Yes, he can, as Hartman has to back out, and the mediums starting to come into their own now. So we've got to watch Bumblebee as RJ Blair. Oh no, just as I say, he's spun at turn 6. So easy to do, as I said. And he's going all the way to the back of the grid again. And I'm sure those McLarens are just cursed. I think the cars, it's not even the drivers, it's the cars. The cars are cursed. You need to get out of them, guys. But yeah, round we come to start lap 5. Bumblebee looking very menacing on the back of Harass. Those mediums starting to come into their own, as we saw RJ Blair making up positions, and Pommy Alex as well before the crashes. But it's a DRS train at the moment. They're struggling to make up ground. But these four within a second of each other, as Hartman gets back past Pommy Alex in towards turn 1 with the DRS. So well done to him. Rick trying so hard to keep track with these guys. He's losing time even through their fighting. And he needs to stay within 1 second of Bumblebee, otherwise he will quickly start to fall off. There's yellow flags in Sector 1. I'm not sure who's... I think it was... Is that TTV Max again? I'm not sure, but... wow. My voice is going to be dead by the end of this race at this rate. But here comes Bumblebee now. He's going to have the DRS. He's right behind Harass. As we come down into the braking zone, he's around the outside. Can he get the switcheroo? No, he can't. He set it up, but Harass covered it off. And now Rick is back in the fight again. And this is great racing between these four. Four-way fight for the race lead as it stands. Madman in front. We've got a 3-second time penalty for TTV Max already. But yeah, these four are the ones to watch. Pommy Alex on the back of Hartman as well. I'll keep an eye on that as Rick dives into the pit lane very early on those soft tyres. He's not happy on that compound, and he's going to be heading onto a new compound. I'm interested to see what he comes out on, mediums or hards. Lifebout gets a 3-second track limits penalty. Rick comes out on the medium, so probably a 2-stop for him. As Bumblebee now right on the back of Harass again. Can he make the move? No, he can't. He sticks behind. He wants to have an easy move with DRS on the straight, but with Harass having DRS from Madman, that might be tough, and it's tough to fight a car that's jittering around a little bit from the New Zealand connection, but that's no fault of Harass's, of course. As Hartman now gets himself a 3-second time penalty, but we're still keeping track of this. I'm keeping track of the battle between Hartman, Pommy Alex and One Wing as well, but here comes Bumblebee. He looks to the inside, but there's just not enough speed. It's so hard around here to get that pace advantage on the cars ahead of you, even if you're faster than them. So Bumblebee is going to be wanting these two to pit as soon as possible so he can try and open up a gap. I wonder if Madman or Harass are going to respond to Rick coming in. No, they're not. Oh, yes, they are. Madman is into the pits. So he's responded, and now Harass is going to be in great danger from Bumblebee, because Harass is not going to have DRS for the back DRS straight. There's yellow flags in Sector 3. It looks like an Aston Martin has spun. I'm not sure who that is. Or is it Emiliano that spun? I'm not sure. But anyway, LB up to P5 now. After the pit stops, Mitch up to P6, so keep an eye on them too, as fastest lap has been set somewhere, but Mitch has now gotten past James McCrow in towards turn 1. But I can't help but keep an eye on these top two, as we've got yellow flags through Sector 1. Looks like Lifebout has spun at turn 2 again. I feel you, buddy. I did that in Tier 1. It's not nice. It does not feel good. But now Madman on the back of Emiliano. I'm keeping an eye on the two up front though. Here comes Bumblebee to the inside, into the braking zone. He's got it stick this time. Harass didn't have DRS, of course, as we said, and he's made the move stick on the Mercedes, who's surely going to have to respond and pit now, unless he's going for a different strategy. But now Bumblebee is going to start pulling away as the softs start falling off the cliff. But Harass does stay out, so he's going to try and stay with the Alfa Romeo. He's going to have DRS. but he's going to really struggle to stay with the Alfa Romeo in through the first couple of sectors. But there's a big battle going on back here. There's about 4 cars involved here. So I'll keep an eye on this as well, as Rick and LB looking to make their way through. And LB's DNF'd! Oh no, out of the final corner it looked like he's had a spin. And that's a disaster for the man in the Aston Martin for his championship hopes. He was 1 point behind Bumblebee. Coming into this race as Madman now spins through turn 2. It's so easy. Everyone's doing it now. It's not a parade, guys. It's not first to spin round turn 2 wins. You've got to be careful of that curb. And that's caught out many a driver today, as I said it would at the start of qualifying. It caught out drivers in qualifying, it's catching out drivers in the race, and don't be surprised to see more spins there as we go on for these tier 2 drivers. But Rick needs to clear Emiliano as soon as he can, really. With Emiliano and Schweizer both on old tyres, but he's struggling in this DRS train. He has to send one down the inside as Emiliano brakes much earlier than he expects. I think it was Schweizer who broke early and Emiliano couldn't find a way through. But there's an unintentional send from Rick there as RJ Blair has spun again, unfortunately. That looks like the exit of turn 7 again. Another corner where it's easy to spin. But yeah, this track definitely sorting out the tier 2 drivers as I said it would. Here comes Rick. Now he's got DRS, he's using the ERS as well. That battery in the bottom left, but there's just no overspeed on these guys. Even though they're out of battery, he just can't make the move stick because of this DRS train. And Emiliano makes it past Schweizer, but he's spun and Schweizer had to react, and that's fantastic reactions from the young Dutchman to miss both of those cars. And like Moses parting the sea, he's back into P7 with clear air in front of him now, and he's going to be looking to chase back after those drivers at the front now, with Mitch on the back of James McCrow as well. Hartman past Emiliano as he tries to get back on track and get back on terms after that spin. I think he's lost a front wing in the process as Lifebout goes past him as well. Yes, he has. He's not got that end plate on the left side of his front wing, so he's going to have to come in for an unscheduled pit stop, unfortunately. But, yep, turn 2. More and more drivers being caught out. Don't be surprised to see leaders go round there as well. Even when you're leading comfortably, that corner is a nightmare. It can really just catch you out unawares. But yeah, things are calming down now. Mitch on the back of James McCrow, though. James McCrow doesn't have DRS. Is Mitch close enough to send one down the inside to turn 1? Yes, he is. Down he goes. Can James McCrow hold it? No, he can't. And Mitch up into P5 from the back of the grid. Very unfortunate for LB. But yeah, all his championship rivals will be seeing that and thinking, right, now we're in. We're in with a shot of coming back at it now, and now they're just going to be hoping for Bumblebee to do something similar. But he looks pretty comfortable out front at the moment. 3 seconds, the gap to Harass. So yeah, things looking very confident and comfortable for the man in the Alfa Romeo, the current championship leader. Yeah, James McCrow falling off the back of Mitch now. Those softs are really screaming for help. He's going to have to come in. Harass is managing those soft tyres so well, it has to be said. There's yellow flags again. That's RJ Blair at turn 2 once again, and yeah, it's a toughie. I think we've established that now. Yeah, Harass is nursing those soft tyres. James McCrow and Schweizer, the only 2 that are still out as well. As James McCrow now comes into the pits, he bites the bullet. He's seen how much faster Mitch is, and he just thinks, okay, now I need to come in. What tyres is he going to go on? Is he going to go on the hards to the end, or another set of the mediums? Same idea for Schweizer as well. He's going to go onto the hard, so James McCrow looking to go to the end, soft to hard. And what's Schweizer going to be doing in the Alpine as well? We've got to keep an eye on that. He's switched to the hards as well, so them 2 are going to the end. Emiliano's going to the end as well. What they could really do is is a safety car about maybe 10 laps from now. That would be quite nice for them. But right now, Emiliano looking out of it after that spin at turn 2. And incredible reactions from Rick in the Ferrari to avoid that carnage and funnel his way through into P6 and into clear air. And he's now chasing after Mitch. That gap has come down. I'll switch to spectator view while nothing's going on. One wing approaching Pommy Alex now, but can he make the overtake? He doesn't have DRS around down the straight. Pommy Alex just about extended the gap before the DRS activation point. As looks like James McCrow has gotten past Lifebout off the back of that second DRS zone. So I'm going to spare my voice a bit, not talk quite so much for while nothing is really going on. It's got another spin at the back. I think that's Emiliano again. So unfortunate for him, but hopefully he can get to the end because, of course, with our point system in APPF1, getting to the end is all that matters. Everyone gets points as long as they finish, and it looks like Schweizer has spun it as well on the exit of the last chicane. So that must have been a sausage curb catching him out. Apologies if you can hear me drinking, but yeah, that first stint was quite something. As RJ Blair is now retired from the session, he's had enough. Into the pits he goes, and McLaren, oh dear, 4 races have gone by, 8 retirements from the McLaren drivers. Even as a reserve, they just can't catch a break. So still 0 points for the Papaya team, unfortunately, as Harass now comes into the pits. I didn't catch that, so out he comes on the medium tyres. Is he going to go to the end? I would wager yes. Harass has a history of saving the tyres quite well, so I think he's going to go to the end now on those mediums. Which is bold, but definitely something he can do. Dave did it in Tier 1, I'm pretty sure, a couple of weeks ago, so Harass looking for that strategy, but Bumblebee with a 13-second lead on those medium tyres from Pommy Alex. Wow. Here's one wing on the back of Pommy Alex now. Just 6/10 between them, but not close enough to make a move into this corner. Yeah, I'm going to sort of spare my voice a bit, so nothing's really happening right now. It's just strategy coming into play. Spain is always quite a strategical race. We saw that in Tier 1, and we're likely going to see it here with Bumblebee clearly on the superior strategy with his pace, but can he hold it? One wing looks to send one, but he's got no battery to do it. He had the DRS up the main straight, but he didn't have any battery left and couldn't make the move in Pommy Alex. Pommy Alex has got 80% in his ERS battery. One wing, only 10, well, up to 18 now, but yeah, so the Alfa Romeo is going to struggle to get past Pommy Alex with all that in the bank for the Mercedes driver. He is using some now just to extend the gap a little bit to make sure that one wing can't utilize the DRS through this back straight, but looks like one wing's gotten a good exit. Is it close enough? Definitely not. He's going to be looking to send one up into turn 1, I think. Pommy Alex used a little bit of battery, but not very much. He's still got so much left in the tank. One wing has saved his a little bit on this lap. It looks like Schweizer's round again at turn 6. Or is that... No, it's Hartmann round at turn 6. So he's gone down to P9 now as Pommy Alex bites the bullet. He's into the pits. Is he going to go... He's surely going to go into the hards to the end now. And that frees up one wing. So right now, it's an Alfa Romeo 1-2. As neither of them have pitted. Pommy Alex goes on to the hards. He's going to be going to the end. But that undercut on one wing. I wonder if one wing is going to respond on this lap. Get a monstrous in lap and then try and get it back again, but Harass 19.5 on those mediums. So very proactive from Pommy Alex there, with the Alfa Romeo right behind him. Comes into the pits, tries to get the undercut because he's aware that they're probably both on the same strategy, unless one goes to the end. And Hartmann is now retired from the session. He's gone round. Where's he gone round? He's gone round at the last corner. Crozer comes into the pits, and there's a safety car, and there is Hartmann. He's right at the entrance of the pit, so no wonder there's a safety car, and that is fantastic timing for One Wing, and possibly Bumblebee as well, because they're not going to have to double stack. The gap is more than big enough that they're not going to have to double stack. Schweizer has also retired from the session. I'm not sure how he's managed that under a safety car. Maybe he retired in the pit lane, but yeah, we've now got 5 retirements in this race. And Hartmann, what happened, mate? Looks like, yeah, there's your car on the entrance to the pit lane, unless that's Schweizer's car, I'm not sure, but yeah, what happened, man? Broken wing, and couldn't turn into the pits in time. Oh no, that's so unfortunate, mate. Well, that's going to close everyone up towards each other now. So Bumblebee out in the hards, One Wing also out in the hards. Same strategy for all of them. But yeah, Alfa Romeo 1-2, and it's going to stay in Alfa Romeo 1-2, and it's just such bad timing for Pommy Alex. Pits the lap before, very proactive strategy. There was nothing wrong with what he did. Came in early, well, a lap earlier than One Wing, very proactive, despite the Alfa Romeo being behind him, and being in control of the pace. He came in, tried to get the undercut and make sure that One Wing didn't do that to him. And then the safety car comes out and ruins his day. So, huge shame for Pommy Alex, very unfortunate, but he's into the pits for mediums now. So all these guys who've been able to go onto the mediums, who didn't start on the mediums. So now Rick is in with a good shot of winning this race on that medium tyre. Here is One Wing. Onto the back of the safety car now. Looks like there's the lapped car of Emiliano between the two teammates, but it is a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo right now. It's Harass down in P6. He's gone onto the mediums as well. Looks like everyone on the grid except Emiliano has pitted. So Emiliano, I mean, there's no point in Emiliano pitting, to be fair, but he is going to be causing issues here on the safety car restart, because it has a lapped car. Unless he comes into the pits. No, he's staying out, and he has every right to. He just wants to get to the end, get some points on the board, and yeah, it's been a tough race for McLaren, tough race for Alpine, both of them out as well. Aston Martin having a tough race as well, with their Drivers' Championship protagonist LB out of the race at the last corner, I believe, and Crozer all the way down in P11, but at least he's not lapped. He will be able to catch back up to the safety car. So we're about halfway through this race now. It's been pretty good so far. The first stint was certainly very exciting, and now we've got a safety car to liven things up even more. So Madman P5, championship leader, leads the race. Teammate One Wing in P2. So all those in chat, welcome to the stream first of all, but second of all, what's your predictions? What are we talking? We're about halfway through the race. We've got a safety car. Looked like Bumblebee was going to just walk this race win, but now maybe not so certain. He's got a lot of pace in that Alfa Romeo around this track, but yeah, it's that safety car has thrown a spanner in the works for a lot of drivers, particularly Pommy Alex, who pitted the lap before. Very unfortunate, but the safety car will be in this lap. So what are your predictions? What are we thinking? What are we looking at for a podium, do you think? I wonder if anyone else is going to bin it at turn 2. Still Bumblebee, says Tyr. Yeah, I agree. I can't see Bumblebee being beaten. Even with Rick on the mediums. Just Bumblebee is so fast, but yeah, here we go. He's going to become the effective safety car as the safety car rolls into the pits. And he comes, and he's going to go for it now out of the final chicane, is he? Not quite yet. Now he's gone. And One Wing has been caught out there, and Rick is now on the back of him. Emiliano is causing problems as the lap car, but here comes Rick. He's going to send it round the outside of turn 1, is he? Can he do it? He sends it late on the brakes, round the outside of One Wing and down the inside for turn 2. Great move from the man in the Ferrari, and he's up to P2. One Wing all the way down to P4 now as Mitch takes advantage of his compromised line. Madman Ollie Oliver might be looking to do the same as Rick now looks to chase after Bumblebee. He's got a very long time to do it on those mediums, but of course they're gonna drop off towards the end of the race, I think. James McCrow on the mediums to charge to the podium, says Zach. So we'll see if that happens. He does have a penalty, so that's going to set him back. We saw the same in Brazil, where a penalty set James McCrow back. He led the race right at the end, and he did win the race on track, but he lost it on penalties. Here comes James McCrow, sends it down the inside of Madman into this corner, and Madman's looking to get the switcheroo, but he's going to have to back out of that one. That corner's hard enough on your own as it is, never mind side by side with another car, so a sensible back out there, but Harass as well is going to look fast, as well as Pommy Alex, who've got a very unfortunate safety car timing. So round he comes, Madman struggling round the final chicane on those hard tyres. Harass has now got the run on him down towards turn 1. I'm keeping an eye on James McCrow as well on the back of One Wing. Can James McCrow send it to the outside of One Wing? He brakes very late. Can he make the move stick? No, he can't. Let's go back to Harass. He's not been able to get the move on Ollie Oliver either, but here comes James McCrow round the outside of One Wing through turn 3 again. That's not an overtaking spot. TTV Max, it looks like he's dropped it at turn 2, the latest victim of that horrible corner. But James McCrow can't quite make the move stick. Now moves to the outside of turn 5. Can he make it stick? Round he goes on those fresher mediums, and One Wing has been left out to dry there. James McCrow into P4. And Rick is chasing after Bumblebee as well. The gap's 1.1. Pommy Alex now round the outside of Ollie Oliver through turn 8. Is that even possible? He's tried it. He's going to have the inside now for the braking zone here after this DRS straight. No DRS enabled at the moment, of course, but Ollie Oliver tries to stick it around the outside. There's a bit of contact between them, but Pommy Alex has made the move stick. I've said that far too many times, but Schweizer left the session, but Harass on the back of One Wing as well. These medium runners are charging through. And the guys who started on the mediums, it's a horribly timed safety car for them. They've had to go onto the hards, and everyone else has been able to go on the mediums to the end, which are looking extremely fast. Rick still, it's 1.1 to Bumblebee, so Bumblebee has got so much pace on this track. He's just miles ahead of the field on raw pace, but tyres might come into play. Here comes Harass on One Wing, as One Wing's sent into the wall and out of the race. Disaster for Alfa Romeo. I don't know if there was contact there because of the jumpy car of Harass. We've got a VSC, which is going to slow things down a bit. But yeah, I'm not sure if that was New Zealand connection, perhaps. I'm sure the stewards will be having a look at it. But that's very, very unfortunate indeed for One Wing. He's into the wall. He was looking very good this race, but he did start losing shipping places after the initial couple of laps. Looks like we're back again. Crozer's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. Aston Martin's day just gets worse and worse. We're now up to 6 retirements in Spain. One Wing's left the session. Emiliano, I mean, at this rate, despite being lapped, he could end up in the top 10. Just need one more crash, and he's going to find his way in the top 10. There he is, Emiliano, the lapped, ghosted car. But Harass on the back of James McCrow now. James McCrow, of course, with that penalty, and Harass looks like he's got the pace. So can he get past the Alpha Tauri? It's going to be a battle for the podium here, as Madman Ollie Oliver gets past Pommy Alex down the inside into turn 1. He's made that work
very nicely, but he gets a bit of a moment through turn 3. Can Pommy Alex take advantage? He's using the battery round the outside towards turn 4. Can he hold it round the outside and have the inside for turn 5? Ollie Oliver is squeezing him to the grass, but Alex digs in, holds his nerve down the inside now, and he's going to have the inside as well for turn 6 and 7. This is very dangerous. Down he goes. Is Ollie Oliver going to back out? No, he's not. There's contact, and Alex is round. And oh, it was always going to happen side by side through there. That's another one I'm sure the stewards will be looking at. Lifeboat up into P7. But Pommy Alex is going to be having to defend from TTV Max now, who's suddenly back in this race after the safety car. Sends it down the inside on those hard tyres. Can Pommy Alex get the switcheroo? Yes, he can. Great racing from Pommy Alex to get that place back. And Max back down to 9th. So James McCrow on the back of Mitch now. They've caught up to the man in 3rd place, James and Harass. Rick is, that gap to Bumblebee is still about constant. This just shows Bumblebee's pace around here. All the other hard tyre runners are just dropping back, just shipping places left, right and centre after the safety car. But Bumblebee, no. Championship leader, he is extending that gap to Rick in the Ferrari. And I can't help but think that Rick is going to be having to forced to accept another 2nd place. That's 3 second places in a row if he does manage to secure 2nd here. But he is still looking for that win. Crozer into the pits for another set. Oh no, that's a drive-through, of course. Bumblebee's now got a 3-second time penalty. I didn't see that. Miliano's got one as well, but that's huge for this in the context of this race. Bumblebee with a 3-second time penalty. Rick on those mediums, 1.3 behind. Don't drop it, Rick. You're doing well. 1.3 behind the championship leader, 1.2. As Bumblebee now starting to make mistakes, perhaps. He's got that penalty, and Rick just needs to stay within 3 seconds. There's 11 laps to go in this race. Can he do it? It's going to be close. As James McCrow now on the back of Mitch. He's going to send one to the outside as Mitch leaves him room. Can Mitch send one down the inside through turn 1? No, he can't. He tries to get the switch back, but those hard tyres just don't have the grip to be able to do it. And but he's coming back, Mitch. Can he send one to the inside of turn 4? He's looking to send one. James McCrow leaves him room and goes a bit wide. In fact, it hits the grass, and Mitch is back through again. We've got a yellow flag through sector 1. I think that's Lifebout who's dropped it. So Mitch and James McCrow fighting for this position, and Harass is just watching as well, watching and waiting for something to happen. Try and get himself on the podium as well. Of course, he'll be seeing that penalty for James McCrow and thinking, right, Mitch is on those hards. If I can get past him, doesn't matter if I'm behind James McCrow, I'm going to be getting myself a podium here. But yeah, all of this has just been perfect for Bumblebee. Madman Ollie Oliver all the way down in P6. LB out of the race. One Wing also out of the race. So Bumblebee's going to extend his championship lead by quite a lot here. If he can secure this win, even if he gets 2nd place, he's going to extend his lead by a lot. But Rick is hungry. That gap has dropped down all the way down to 2 seconds though. So it's going to be tough as James McCrow sends one down the inside through turn 1. There's a bit of contact as Mitch holds it. But Mitch again holds it round the outside. Very brave racing from the man in the Red Bull. James McCrow has got the inside for turn 4. Can he get it? Send it round. There's contact again. Harass is watching all of this play out. How is neither of them in the wall there? But here comes James McCrow again, looking to get the switch back through turn 5. He can't quite do it as they approach now to this small chicane. James McCrow right on the back of this Red Bull still. He's going to have DRS into this heavy braking zone after this DRS straight. How much battery has Mitch got? Not much. James McCrow down the inside. There's a bit of ghosting, in fact, as the game struggles to keep up with where they both are. But Mitch, decent defending. He stuck to the inside. James McCrow tried to stick it to the inside, but Mitch held his line, held his nerve, and James McCrow just ran out of racetrack. It's a great battle between these three. Mitch desperately trying to hold on to this podium. He knows if James McCrow gets past, it's probably only going to be a matter of time before Harass does the same. Rick sets the fastest lap in his bid to win this race, but here comes Mitch James McCrow round the outside of Mitch, and that's a pretty plain sailing move. Nothing Mitch can do about that. Is James McCrow going to make another mistake towards turn 4, I wonder, because that's what let Mitch back through again last time. But wow, what a race this is. So many battles happening. Rick 1.7, 1.8 seconds behind Bumblebee. He just needs to stay within 3. But those mediums are going to drop off towards the end of the race perhaps. But Rick, he's got the pace. He's set the fastest lap. He's chasing back down that Alfa Romeo who's got the penalty. James McCrow in P3 right now, but he also has a penalty. And Harass, I think, is the favourite for the podium at the moment if he can get past Mitch. That's the crucial thing. He knows this is a DRS train at the moment, so he's going to struggle. But he does have the battery. Mitch only has 16%, Harass on 70. So a great exercise in ERS saving, just watching the battles play out for the two cars in front of him, and all the while he's keeping hold of his battery and getting ready to make a move. And now he uses the battery. Don't spin it. It's don't spin it. Very easy to do if you use your battery around a fast corner like that. But here you go. You can see that flashing red light on the back of Mitch's car, signaling he's out of energy. But he's going to send one down the inside of James McCrow now, and that's just going to hold back Harass even more. Mitch back into P3 again. He is not giving this up. James McCrow down the inside. There's barely any room left, but he bravely sends it round. And Mitch tries to run him out of road, but he can't quite do it, and there's contact again. James McCrow onto the grass, 2 wheels on, and he has to back out, as he would have gone into the side of Mitch if he'd kept the accelerator down. And Harass is still just having to watch all this play out. A little bit of a moment there for the Kiwi. Down he comes into turn 6 and 7, a little bit of a snap of oversteer there. And he's again just having to watch these two battle. He can't do anything. He's at the back of the DRS train. It's just where you don't want to be in this particular situation. Normally you don't want to be in the middle, but at the moment he is the man who's struggling to make any progress. Rick still 1.5, 1.6, that gap to Bumblebee. Madman is catching them as well, says Tia. Thank you for that, Tia. I wasn't watching Madman. Rick up to 19.2, so that's another fastest lap. What's the lap record around here, I wonder? I'm just going to check quickly. Here comes James McCrow down the inside of Mitch. And again, Mitch can't really fight that one. Is Harass close enough to take advantage? No, he isn't. There's yellow flags through set to 3. Who is that? I can't quite see. I think that's Emiliano round, so he's just looking to get to the checkered flag and secure some points for himself. But yeah, Harass on the back of this train. This is such a close fight for the podium. James McCrow has got that penalty, so he's the man who's perhaps the most disadvantaged of the 3, because the other 2, of course, don't have one. And of course, Madman is catching them as well as they fight. 1.5 is now the gap. That was 2 seconds last I looked at the start of this lap. So Madman is catching them as well. So James McCrow could find himself all the way down to P6 here from that penalty, which would be such a shame for him. But that's just, you've got to keep it on track. If you don't keep it on track, that's what can happen. So here we come round to the end of Sector 3. What's the lap record in the race around here? It's an 18.5. Bumblebee now sets the fastest lap. He's going for it. 19.1 from the man in the Alfa Romeo on the hard tyres. There's 6 laps to go. Rick, that gap is down to 2.3. Well, up to 2.3 now. Madman Ollie Oliver's catching up to these 3 too. He's almost within a second of Harass. James McCrow starting to pull away from Mitch now, but is it fast enough? I'm not sure. Rick, that gap, 2.4, 2.5 maybe. It's just stabilizing now. It's going to be so close. It was up to 2.4 earlier in this race as well, but Rick clawed it back. But now Bumblebee set the fastest lap. Sent a message to Rick. I'm not giving up this win easily. I'm going to push as hard as I can to keep you 3 seconds behind. But Rick's not giving up. On the fresher tyre, the easier tyre, Bumblebee might have the most pace of anyone on this grid around this track, but Rick doesn't care. He sees that penalty and he knows he's got a chance at winning this race. He's not going to settle for second again if he can help it. Around we come towards Sector 3. Madman Ollie Oliver has now caught up to these three, and he's made it a 4-car battle for the podium. 1.1, 1.0, where's the activation point? It's just after this last chicane. Is he going to be within DRS range? Not quite, it's 1.1. So, Madman's still chasing. Another 3-second penalty for Miliano. I don't think he really cares very much. He just wants to see the checkered flag, and fair play to him. But, yeah, James McCrow, he can't quite extend this gap. And now that they've stopped fighting, Madman is starting to perhaps lose time to them again. Of course, he lost time on the straight because Haras had DRS, but yeah, Madman's struggling to keep up. And that gap, 2.5, I'm keeping an eye on it between first and second. Rick needs that to be below 3 to win the race. There's still 5 laps to go, well, 4.5. And 2.6 now. Bumblebee's pushing hard to extend that gap to 3 seconds. He wants this win. He hasn't had a podium yet, despite leading the championship, and he wants to start off those podiums with a win. We've got a yellow flag through Sector 1. That's Emiliano who's spun again. But again, yeah, he's just looking to get to the checkered flag. Madman within 1.2. He's still not quite in DRS range. He can't quite catch up to these three. It's another fastest lap from Bumblebee, a 19.0. What's the battery like? Rick has got 20%, Bumblebee's got 3%, so he's pushing as hard as he can. Max with another time penalty. But this is the battle we're watching. Rick now 2.9, 2.93, 2.91, 2.98, 3 seconds. It's above 3. Bumblebee has extended it to above 3. How long will that last? Will it last? As we still watch these three battle for this podium. James McCrow currently in P3, but with that penalty, it's going to drop him all the way down to, I think, P5 as it stands. Madman is now dropping back again. Now that these three have stopped fighting and they're just working together now. But Mitch currently in the running for a podium. With that penalty from James McCrow, he's got to be careful not to get one himself. Haras still saving his battery, but he can't really do anything because James McCrow can't pull away from Mitch. So Mitch is going to have DRS on every straight, and Haras just can't close up fast enough. Crozer into the pits, as is Emiliano. They both get penalties. Oh no, just Emiliano gets... No, Crozer gets the penalty. But yeah, that gap now 3.1 back to 3.0. It's so close between those two. 3 laps to go. Bumblebee 3.2 ahead. He's using all of that battery that he possibly can, but so is Rick. There's nothing between them on battery. Haras now sets the fastest lap as he chases this podium. Can he get past Mitch? He's using a lot of battery to try and close up, but he can't quite do it. It's so difficult with that DRS train. Mitch is almost out of DRS. James McCrow gets himself another 3-second time penalty, so he's going to drop back behind Madman now, if it stays as it is. So it's a shame for James McCrow, but music to the ears of the man in the Haas car as he's now falling away from these three, as well as Mitch and Haras, of course. If they get penalties, then it doesn't matter in relation to James McCrow anyway, as Haras goes a bit onto the gravel there through turn 5, but keeps it together. Still going to have DRS down here. We're still fighting between these three. They've been within a second of each other this entire second stint as soon as the safety car came in. After they made up the initial positions. Pommy Alex currently holding P7 very nicely indeed, after he got caught out by the safety car. But yeah, he's very comfortable. He's just on a Sunday drive to the finish. 3.1 seconds is the gap. 2 laps to go. Can Rick catch up to the Alfa Romeo? It's 3.3. It's so close. It's been like that for ages. It's just that gap just doesn't change. But here comes Mitch now down the inside of James McCrow. He's taken the opportunity. The Alpha Tauri low on battery, and Mitch uses the DRS to perfection down the inside through turn 1, and he makes the move stick. And now Haras going to be looking to take advantage to get past James McCrow. This could be crucial. Can he do it? He does get past James McCrow, and now the crucial thing is Mitch is not going to have DRS because James McCrow is right at the back of this train now. So he's going to have nothing to defend against Harass other than what's left in his battery, which is basically nothing. Harass got 35%. He's still got some left. He might see the flashing red light on the back of the Red Bull towards the end of this straight. Yeah, there it is. So Harass knows he just has to wait until the main straight on the final lap, and he's going to perhaps grab this podium from the Red Bull right at the last, with James McCrow falling back to 5th. That was such a crucial move, and you know what? That move might have cost Mitch the podium here. Ironically, overtaking a car might have cost him the podium because he's not going to have DRS now. And here comes Harass. Mitch has got nothing left in the tank. Here comes the Mercedes. He's going to go down around the outside of turn 1. He's got the overspeed before the corner. The move is done. And Mitch down to P4 now. James McCrow on the back of him as well, perhaps looking to take advantage, but those 6 seconds of penalties are going to cost him. Harass into 3rd place. Can he hold it for the rest of this final lap? The gap is 3.7 between Bumblebee and Rick. I think Bumblebee's done enough. Rick did absolutely everything. He gave it everything in this final stint to try and keep up with Bumblebee and keep within that 3 seconds, but I think he's given up now. I think he's just looking to get the car to the end and secure 2nd place. And Mitch losing time to Harass all the time. Is he going to have the speed? Harass out of battery, of course, but so is Mitch. And yeah, he's just going to have to settle behind unless anything happens. We've got yellow flags again. I think that's life out round. Yes, it is. So TTV Max now takes that position right on the final lap. So big news for them too. But it's Bumblebee who wins the Spanish Grand Prix, sets the fastest lap on the last lap as well. Not quite a lap record, but he's done enough. Rick in P2 after giving it everything to try and keep up. Harass takes P3, and he takes the fastest lap at the end with an 18.6, so that's an extra point for the Mercedes. Bumblebee will not be happy about that, but he will be happy about taking the win. Mitch in P4, a valiant effort, but ironically that overtake on James McCrow on the penultimate lap might have cost him a podium, as Emiliano now sets the lap record with an 18.491 on the fresh softs. He just wanted the fastest lap point, and he's got it. Fair play to Emiliano. Well done, mate. Crozer comes down round in P10. TTV Max comes round to the end. Madman Ollie Oliver does secure P5 in the end after James McCrow's penalties. Pommy Alex a nice relaxing drive at the end to P7. TTV Max P8. Will he hold it across the line? I think he did on penalties. What a race. Well done, Bumblebee. You were by far the fastest car on track today. You deserve that win. You really like Spain or something? Because no one was anywhere near you today. I mean, other than Rick, of course, but he was on the faster tyres. So there is Bumblebee. It's a Netherlands 1-2. So that's definitely the first time we've seen that in APPF1, so that's something for Rick to be happy about, despite coming 2nd again. But yeah, Netherlands 1-2, and Harass, representing New Zealand, secures P3. What a race that was. So there we go. Bumblebee takes the race win, even with that penalty, after Rick gave it everything to try and catch up. Rick in P2, Harass P3 in the Mercedes. Mitch P4 after a valiant effort. Madman takes P5. James McCrow drops to 6th after the penalties. Pommy Alex, nice relaxing drive after the safety car to P7, despite getting a bit screwed over by it initially. Sorry about that noise. TV Max P8, good drive for him. Lifebout P9, good drive for him as well. Crozer P10, Emiliano P11 with the fastest lap and the lap record, and One Wing, Schwazer, Hartman, RJ Blair, LB, and KTFO not finishing the race. So, wow. What a great race that was. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to check out Positive Perception Media Design Products on Instagram. Definitely worth your time and a follow. They do amazing GT car liveries. But yeah, definitely worth your time there. But there we go. Round 4 of Tier 2 Season 2 is complete. Bumblebee will extend his championship lead after a dominant performance today. Rick was close, but he couldn't quite keep within those 3 seconds. So thank you for watching, everyone. I've been Ghost. Hopefully Sumo will be back next week, and we'll be the dynamic duo will be back together again. But until next time, I've been Ghost. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.